Welcome, and today I'm going to speak about ancient India and psychology. I'm very proud of being an Indian, and I'm equally proud of our ancestors because the more I understand psychology and the more I look into the ancient Indian lifestyle, I feel they knew a lot about human psychology. They knew exactly what works and what needs to be done on a day to day basis to bring about a lot of change in their lives. All the positive changes were all rooted to their everyday practices. There are beautiful techniques and practices which come from ancient India. I would like to talk about three of the very beautiful techniques today. One is mantras. The mantra chanting used to be a day to day process, day to day procedure, or a ritual for the ancient Indians. If you see, the mantras are not only connected to religion, though it looks like it's a religious activity, but if you decode the mantras, all the mantras talk about wealth, prosperity, great health, good family, blessings, and peace. So many times in mantras, Shanti word is repeated, which means peace. So now, if we understand, like the more you talk about something, is what we tell, this is the self talk. Then we talk about how, if we have a positive self talk, you can reprogram your subconscious mind. Today, we talk about affirmations, but everything was a part of their process, ritual on a day, everyday basis. And that was mantra chanting. The more they used to chant mantras, automatically the subconscious mind becomes programmed to think about peace, to think about good health, to think about family, prosperity, wealth, and all. So it was a way of bringing out a balanced approach, a peaceful approach, and a very good lifestyle. So mantra chanting used to be done so much either in the places of worship or even at homes together as a group activity or individually. So they used to even chant 108 times and or maybe 1008 times. But the practice was about reprogramming the subconscious mind. In India, we even now do the mantra chanting, but not as a scientific process. It is just done as a religious ritual. But there has been a very huge science connected to mind, which they knew, which the ancestors knew. So they had made all those positive words into mantras so that the more people would chant, the more they would be taking care of their state of mind and happiness. Beautiful, isn't it? The second thing I would want to talk about is rangolis. This particular activity where women used to draw, make designs outside their home. That was a everyday morning process. Many times, even now, people are following, but it is just a way of like they doing. But there is a science behind it which they knew about. So now what we do is like, even in West, the mandala colorings are becoming very prominent. People are enrolling into art classes, doing art as well as mandala coloring, mandala making, and many more. But rangolis were a way of depicting art as well as doing the mandalas. It was a every morning and many times even evening procedure which women used to do outside their house. Many of the symbols were all spiritual symbols. They were with the intent of protecting the house, for bringing prosperity for the house, for the family. And if we understand the psychology, the more somebody is getting involved in an artwork, that is a beautiful form of de stressing. Women those days were not going out to work. So even in their day-to-day activities, they needed some time out for themselves, which we call as a me time. It could be some de-stressing time. So it was a beautiful process of de-stressing. as well as increasing their talents and working on their talents, focusing on a art form. All these make them feel fresh. By the time they complete making a rangoli, it is an accomplishment, as well as they are increasing their focus, concentration, and feeling happy. So it was a very good art form of bringing more happiness into that person. So Rangolis has a lot of science behind it, especially connected to the mind and psychology. The more they do, the more they are happier. And the third thing which I want to talk about is a meditation process called as Tratak. India has been the mother of all meditations. But this particular Tratak is a very exclusive meditation. Though it looks religious, but it is not. There is again a science behind that. So, Tratak is of different types. Taratak by itself means one pointed focus or concentration. So the process of the Taratak could be practiced by different ways, but I'm going to talk about two of the Tarataks. One is the Murti Taratak, and the other one is the Jyoti Taratak. Murti Tratak is like, as you know, India is where like many people follow the idol worship. Okay. But idol worship is not just, okay, this is the idol, let me worship. Not that way. That was with the process of increasing the mind power, increasing the concentration, bringing that one pointed concentration, oneness, and that connectivity. So, whenever people worship the idol, it is not just like how we do now, just we close our eyes, just keep our hands fold, and then we just say something, chant some prayers, or ask God something, and just go away. Not like that. It is once you are praying, you are supposed to sit down, look at the Murti, and just focus on the Murti. And that is the Murti Tratak. So you just have the focus, you just connect, you can have a like conversation in your mind with the Murti, that is the idol. You can converse with God or just look at the Murti just like that. So when you are having one pointed focus, your concentration increases, as well as all your stress and anxieties are gone. So, Murti Tratak was a way of releasing the anxieties, the stress, as well as any other overthinking. So, it could give the person who is doing more clarity and peace. The second thing was Jyoti Tratak. So, Jyoti Tratak is lighting the lamp in front of the idol, in front of God, and then that again came with the activity of sitting and just looking at the jyoti, that is the light of the lamp, and just looking at it and focusing. This not only increases the focus, concentration, but it also brings about more clarity of thoughts. Because when you are focusing at one point, all your thoughts are gone. So it is about bringing one pointed focus, so that increases the concentration, brings clarity of thought, balances your emotions as well as your logical mind. It also brings about more introspection, that is, you start to look inwards more, because now that you are having more clarity, it becomes easier to focus on what you want to do. So that is also a time when they can plan for their tomorrow, or they can plan for their goals, plan for their achievements, plan for or they can also do their introspection. Beautiful, isn't it? So these techniques, though it appears religious, but those are not religious techniques. Those are scientific techniques connected to mind. And that's the reason I always believe that the ancient Indians were far ahead in understanding about human psychology than what we are learning now currently, because now it has to come with lot of research, and that takes a lot of time. I think they had their own way of understanding, their own way of research. Maybe there was no documented evidence. But now, when we correlate whatever the practices they used to do and what the psychology and the human mind science is talking about, there is so much of connectivity. The more we understand, the more we can appreciate. So please go ahead and practice your own ways of mantra chanting, or you can just go ahead with some just positive affirmations. Start doing rangolis or any artwork and go ahead with tratak or any one pointed focus. Suit yourself.